pull that out for the screen for you guys. Javan, Janna, and Cassiopeia being taken away on the side of Zotac 269. SF5 banning out Zek, Azir, as well as the Sejuani. And we do have the Rek'Sai locked in now for Zotac 269, and for SF5 locking in both the Morgana as well as the Tristana.
So the Rek'Sai being stolen away from Jinky is a champion he has played in all 4 games so far. This time it will be Heaven who's picking up that champion for himself. Looks like 269 will be defaulting to the Maokai top lane. Not really sure where they will continue to go for it, despite SF5 continuously being able to bully that out whenever 269 have been able to go for it. Instead, they swap it over. They will be going for the bottom lane of Graves and Trash instead, so that they have the option of counter-picking at least one of the solo lanes.
Yeah, that's right, and going for that very bursty combo as well. My question is, my big question is, will they be able to replicate what they did in game number 3? That was when they really proved the point that even without that Zac, even without the Azir, they would be able to pick up a win over Saigon Fantastic 5. And once again, they are on the blue side, the one that we have mentioned, or rather you have mentioned, that is very heavily into their favor on that side of the map.
I mean, so far they have the same elements that might bring them the same amount of success. They've got Bully Lane in the bottom side, Trash as well as the Graves into the Tristana Morgana. SF5, they will be pressured, assuming that both players are equally mechanically sound. And they have the same makings of the skirmishing type team composition that saw them find so much success early on. This time they swapped the bands around. They do not want to be doing Optimus's Cassiopeia, so Optimus might be wanting to go for the RE this time around. We have to see what 269 decides to pick up in the mid lane, however. They could be preempting that it might be an RE in the mid lane, or you might see them pull out something crazy like an Urgot in the mid lane.
Yeah, we'll see what's going to be the final pick for SF5 over here, but looking at some of the current picks that they have right now, it is quite clear that they're in it for the long run. They have the Maokai up in the top lane that's going to provide a lot of area of effect control. And you couple that up with the Nunu, with the Absolute Zero, you have a lot of area of effect crowd control, but you need some sort of damage to follow through your team composition. And while Tristana will have that in her bag towards the end of the game, but that's going to take a long time to scale up. So SF5 so far are looking to play through this till the long run, but Zotac 269 will have to see what they choose to respond to this particular composition in that case.
I would actually like to see a Jax here, maybe Vladimir in the top lane being picked up by King J, but looks like he will be going for the Aurelia. It's a scaling option that has difficulty doing with Maokai, in my opinion, but nonetheless they will be going for the Aurelia, and let's see what SF5 will be going for. They might pick up an Annie over here as a solo laner to deal with the Lissandra. They trade pretty well. The cooldown on both the basic damage abilities, the Power Blast from the Annie as well as the Shot of Ice from the Sandra. Both of them have very similar cooldowns, 3 seconds, or was it 4 seconds I believe. And they are able to trade pretty well in lane, but looks like they will be going for the Orianna here, and they're just going to be going with the Protect Tristana composition. Never mind that they're just trolling me for now, so I'm not going to be commenting about what they can go for here. I really like the Orianna against the Lissandra in this case, but Ari as well is just Optimus saying that, okay, I found success with this champion, I'm going to be trying to replicate that this time around.
Yeah, that's right, and that one was off of game number 2, where they found a much needed victory in that 4 games that was played earlier, and I believe that should be the Ari rounding things off for SF5. And I'm not sure about you, but I do like the Ari pickup coming in from SF5. They need some sort of early to mid game threat, and I think Ari just brings that to the table. And for Optimus as well, he is the enabler for the team, so he needs a champion who's going to be able to start fights, and Ari is just perfect for that.
Ari Morgana is a very solid pick composition that SF5 have enabled for themselves. Usually when you have a Nunu in the jungle, you tend to suffer a lot because your inability to skirmish within the jungle. But you throw in that Ari, throw in that Morgana, suddenly the Nunu himself, it just becomes a very forward scout. They can just get the vision down so that the Ari as well as the Morgana can get the picks that they're looking for with the skill shots. The Dark Binding in length is 3 seconds. Charm will follow after that. Up of Deception, and then somebody burst it down.
Yeah, that's right. And on the side of Zotac 269, I think what they're trying to do here is to replicate what they did in game number 3. But the problem here is that their style of initiation might not be as solid as they had in that game itself. So we'll have to watch out for that. But the good thing for them is that they have the early to mid game threat in the form of their Grace, but they have their late game skilling in the form of their Irelia. So a pretty balanced composition, to say for the least. And then for Saigon Fantastic 5, like you mentioned, they have a lot of ways to protect the Tristana, and then just sealing the deal here with that Ari in the mix.
So it will be the Nunu bot skin being picked up by SF5. I kind of dislike actually the Nunu pick over here. They have the Ari, they have the Morgana, but let's see how much that can compensate for Nunu's inability to skirmish within the jungler. Usually when we see people go for Nunu, they usually pair it with a very well prepared level 1 strategy that just gets them ahead of the opponent's jungle and sets the opponents behind from the very start. Let's see if SF5 will be able to pull that off.
Yeah, or we could see the case that Jinky is more focused towards counter jungling in this particular scenario. That's what most Nunu players would like to do, and even just based on the ganks itself, you might not necessarily pick up the kills, but you're just there to literally snowball the game. Just throw one snowball down into the lanes and then just apply some sort of pressure down onto your opponent laners.
In terms of ganking the lanes, yes, you can set up for some interesting ganks onto the Lissandra. You can make the charm a lot easier to hit, but the main disadvantage of Nunu is that you're not able to stop Lissandra from flying to the frozen claw that she throws out. So unlike other junglers where if you play Rek'Sai, you play Elise or something like that, you can stun her up, you can knock her up during the duration, and she's unable to get it. SF5 with a very sneaky 5-man group in the bottom side brush. They're just pulling out all the cheese, pulling out all the stops at the moment. They want to get as big of an advantage as possible. And this was what I was talking about, getting an early game Nunu cheese in. But it looks like they aren't going to be continuing through with their plan. Let's see where they go for instead.
That's right. And remember, guys, this is going to be the deciding game between Zotac 269 as well as Saigon Fantastic 5. The winner is going to move forward in tomorrow's grand finals to determine who is going to be this split's champion. And a lot of it going for these two guys. SF5, of course, the veterans, the hot favorites in this tournament. Whereas Zotac 269, they are the new kids on the block, the new guards to say the least. And for them, if they manage to make finals just in their very first split, it's going to be a huge success story for these guys.
It is definitely has been a Cinderella story for the Zotac 269 squad so far. They are on the verge of it. They were 2-1, they're the 2-2 with the Juggernaut Saigon Fantastic 5. We have to see if they will be able to pull it through. Now they have their favorite blue side. It's a side that they have been doing so well for. They are currently 7-1 so far since phase 2 in the tournament on blue.
That's right, and this time around responding quite well to Saigon Fantastic 5 and the decision. We did see both miners as well as Uzi move up to the top lane right here. Perhaps they do not want to face up against that very powerful Thresh and Graves combo in the early few minutes of the game and decide instead to opt to go for the lane swap situation. So right now it's going to be standard lanes, except the top lane is going to switch down to the bottom side, and we'll see how that in fact affects the gameplay right here. Jinky should be able to spot out Heaven in this case, and I believe he did a bit of scouting on his own side, and I think that holds true to what you were mentioning at the start. Nunu is going to function as that forward-looking scout to provide information for the rest of the team, and if there's any sort of troubles whatsoever, can still use that absolute zero once he hits that level 6 disengage.
We have to see whether Nunu will be able to achieve over here. The Rek'Sai trying to get a little bit risky by trying to go for a steal over here. Not really sure if this will work out for him. He does have a level advantage, but he is going to be spotted out. And the rest of SF5 move in to go for it. Oh, he's still going to go for it. Will he be able to get the steal? Let's see if Heaven will be able to do it. He is spotted out by Ward, and he will just back off as he knows that GK already has completed the buff by this time.
So wasting a bit of time is Heaven in that particular scenario, and I think in the mid lane it's quite an important matchup as well. Beyond takes a chunk of damage from Optimus after the charm hit, of course, and up in the top lane we do see Minus being chunked down quite low by both Celebrity and Cirque in this case, and Uzi really needs to be the one to enable the plays for Minus in this situation.
So 269 actually getting the bully lane happening the top side. They have the Graves Trash matchup, and they're able to do some pretty decent damage to the side of Minus as well as keeping them above 50% and making sure that they have a little bit of difficulty CSing, but Tristana still has a short range.
That's right, Heaven gonna move back into the jungle to grab some experience gains for himself, and hasn't been able to quite make the early game impact as he did in some of the previous games, but still quite active in searching for opportunities, so he's got that going for him.
Let's see what Jinky will be looking to do over here. I'm really interested to see what they have planned with this Nunu pick over here. The first time I watched a Saigon game, was the Saigon Jokers playing, they put off this very interesting Nunu Caitlyn strategy, where they had this Nunu fast push happening, and then they just pummeled down the turrets of TPA so far in the series. So whenever the Saigon organization, when they bring out this Nunu, I'm definitely keeping my eyes peeled to see what interesting strategies that they will be doing so far. I think that it is definitely possible that they might be trying for early solo dragon with the Nunu the moment he gets level 5.
That could possibly be the case, and if you think about it objectively, if we get to a point where Saigon Fantastic 5, Minus as well as Jinky are just left alone, they can pummel down the turrets very, very quickly with the explosive satchel charge, of course. And so right now, Celebrity and Uzi gonna try to make it out of there. Optimus with the pre-level 6 roam over here, gonna throw down the Deception Orb and do a fair chunk of damage down onto Celebrity with, of course, Jinky in the mid lane to cover up for the lane and to absorb some of that lost CS count for Optimus.
So beyond, we'll be getting slightly hit in CS thanks to the unsuccessful roam coming from Optimus. Roaming level 6, it is rather interesting because it can pay off lots of dividends if you know that you have control of the Scuttle Crab area, and if you make it look like you are returning to base to pick up a certain set of items. But I do believe at that point of time, Optimus, he wasn't really going for, there was no real incentive for him to back away, and thus was a little bit too telegraphed.
Yeah, that's right. And Heaven once again searching for a gank opportunity. Might just get Optimus off of that one, and we see the flash coming around. Boson, we do see Optimus right in the air, and that's gonna be first blood going over to Heaven in that case. A very interesting interaction of the particles right there, but a very good gang for the Zotac 269 duo.
Flashes blown by both the jungler and the mid laner. Ignite popped as well by 269, and only one summoner blown for SF5. It is nonetheless the first blood, so 400 gold for 3 summoner spells. Yeah. Questionably worth.
Questionably worth, but
never mind. Definitely worth. It's 400 gold. Can't argue with the money in the bank.
Money in the bank, bro. You need to have that at all times if possible. And right now, of course, Zotac 269, the first team to break through that kill silence. And if you look at it, Jinky does have a very interesting response of his own. Gonna go for that Sightstone. So he's gonna help in maintaining that vision game for the rest of the team here.
And once again, Heaven just so much attention just getting down the Scuttle Crabs, and that's really, really important because you know that Ari against Lissandra, both of them, they're going to be shoving out the waves and trying to find good rotations down into the side lanes, or having the junglers gang for the mid lane to open up those rotations for themselves. Minus gets exhausted, a little bit of trouble. Here comes the teleport, the Nunu, whole party as well.
Wow, and all the flash coming through as well. ZZ gonna flash in for the Twister advance. Celebrity in so much trouble. Snowball is gonna keep him in range here. Azizi takes so much damage on the back end. Here comes Heaven with the knockout on both Uzi as well as Minus gets gonna secure 1 kill now for Heaven. And here comes Optimus finally backing the rest of the team over here. And a botched gank attempt from Saigon Fantastic 5 gives 1 more kill over to Heaven.
I mean, in a game 5 scenario, you go for these aggressive plays, you try to roll the gamble dice, try to catch your opponent off guard with this aggression. It just backfires completely in your face. Your opponent's top laner gets out of farm, you give the kill over to your opponent jungler, and you just have to be feeling absolutely miserable. They still have this killing composition, but I have to be worried for SF5. They might be going on tilt here.
You have to consider the fact as well that it all boils down to the numbers in the composition. Your main damage sources are going to be from the Ari, are going to be in the Tristana from in the late game stages. But in the early stage, Tristana is not going to provide that much damage for you. And you know, you have all this support style champions going in for the gank. Of course, you're not going to have enough damage. And a really questionable call coming in from Saigon Fantastic 5. But it seems that they have regrouped. With the Nunu in the mixer, I believe they should be able to take this dragon down for themselves. But here comes Beyond on the back end though, trying to collapse down onto Saigon Fantastic 5. A little bit too late though. So SF5, at least they will be able to grab the dragon off of the map for themselves.
I mean, but in all the time, they put Azizi down into the middle portions of the map, and that means that the Maokai is going to continue to fall behind the Arela. Usually, Arela can do much to Maokai, but if the Arela gets a hit enough, the Maokai might find himself in a little bit of trouble over here.
Eventually, Maelstrom's going to get popped. Not quite activating it for the final tick of damage. So, making it a pretty even trade down in the top lane. But I think, like you mentioned earlier, King J did have a lot of time to just farm up for himself, and we all know how devastating a farmed up Aurelia can be. So that's what 269 has got going for them. And in the bottom lane as well, you start to see Celebrity pulling ahead in the CS department right here, 62 CS to 49. And even though both of them have similar items by itself, but Celebrity over the long run into the early to mid game stages is going to do so much more with those items.
Traditionally, Irelia is a champion that excels against big compositions because the moment you get some MR onto yourself, your passive is going to be reducing the duration of those crowd controls, and they are just going to be ending up wasting the spells onto you. And after it bursts you down, the equilibrium strike will hit for the full stun duration.
Yeah, that's right, and that's something that we have to watch out for nonetheless. And in the mid lane, we do see Beyond picking up the blue buff, so matching to that from Optimus. 90 CS to 76, the Morello Nomicon completed on the side of Beyond, and this Lissandra pick cashing in quite well for Beyond for game number 3, so we'll be looking to replicate that performance over here.
Lissandra as a champion CSing in the lane without your opponent decided is one of the easiest things. And here comes the teleport from the Irelia. How much are they going to be able to get? He does not get the stun on just yet. There we go! He gets the last bit of damage.
Collateral damage is going to finish off Uzi, and we did see the commitment coming through from Heaven as well. Void Rush all the way down into this lane. So even though they did not get minus in that situation, they will be able to get the pick off and land that kill going over to Celebrity. And you know, right now they are going to be focusing towards the objective game right here. They get the pull down onto Optimus as well. He's going to be able to Spirit Rush out of that one, but there's still a lot of crowd control coming into play. We do see Heaven dashing in, and the buckshot secures the kill. Celebrity is going to pick that one up. Cert gets the final tick of damage onto Minus with the Flay, and that is going to work so well for Zotac 269.
Blue side OP, man, for 269. Somehow, when they have the blue side, they're just able to make all these plays happen. The architecture of the map just working in the favor. They swept up to the top side, and now we see SF5. Every time they go for aggression, 269, they're always there to respond. At 269, this is the first time this entire series they are the ones to go for such deep aggression, and it pays off for them. SF5 just caught with their pants down.
Right, King J gonna try to finish off Azizi in this case. Plenty of damage stacked up on his side. Gonna clean house that one nice and easy. And about the blue-red side theory, not only is it gonna be the case that it's gonna add to the portfolio of Zotac 269, if you think about it, what are people gonna say about this semi-final is that 100% blue side win for this particular series if Zotac 269 does close this one out.
I mean, this for Zotac 269, I really have to feel that they played a rather impressive game over here. The responses to SF5, they know that SF5, they like to be aggressive, they see the Nunu, they can't predict all this aggression coming in, and the responses to it is very coordinated, it's very rehearsed, just right on point there to stop them in their tracks whenever they want to go in for this aggression.
Yeah, and with all this kills and picks that has been coming apart for Zotac 269, that Nunu pick just can't, it just feels really awkward for SF5 right now. He's not going to be able to make any plays whatsoever except to speed up his teammates and stuff like that, but that's about it. And Sir gonna get the pull in onto Uzi at this stage. Will they continue to chase in? Uzi taking so much damage, and that's gonna be one more kill. Heaven picks that one up. Sir on the back end getting picked off a little bit by Optimus, but he's gonna be able to get out of there with the flash being blown, of course.
Mana still stood pushing in the side lanes. 269, this isn't the end of the siege just yet. They're still hunting for more. They're going to be clearing out the walls over here and creating a very difficult zone in which a trash hook will mean a kill.
Oh!
They get the Nunu.
That's right, they get the hook down onto Jinky, but I think they are going to respect the strength of Azizi for now. Or is that going to be the case? Jinky picks up the kill, or rather, Jinky gets blown down, and Optimus is going to use that Orb of Deception to pick up the kill onto Beyond in the same time, and Uzi comes back around. So Saigon Fantastic 5 manages to defend the second tier turret, and Zotac 269 kind of dropping the ball a little bit, but at the end of it all, still hanging on to a huge advantage off of that push.
I mean, 5,000 gold at 14 minutes. This is a huge amount that we've been talking about. Every game so far that we've played in this series has just been one team just grabbing these early leads from all these early skirmishes, and whoever who is in the other semi-final, they have to be watching this and identifying how these two teams are bringing this aggression forward, how they are approaching the warding, and what are the trigger points, what's making them decide to go for such aggression.
Yeah, definitely playing a close paying it close attention to the details that's put in place for these two guys, and no matter which team moves forward, there's plenty of information, and I think that's a very important point to take note of as well, especially when you know that your opponents are going to watch these matches. You try to end the series in the cleanest of ways. If you can end it with a 3-0, that's going to be the best situation. But this game has gone, or rather this series has gone all the way to 5 games, which means that there's plenty of information for their opponents to analyze, be it going to be Bangkok Titans or ISG Legends on that case, which will be coincidentally played later on in the evening as well. So that's something that both teams just got to watch out for. You can't blow your cards at the first stage of the semifinals.
Okay, we have they're clearing out the vision once again. They're going for this siege. They cash Optimus, but is there going to be a follow-up? The flay into the wall, but Heaven doesn't pull the trigger into that one.
Yeah, I'm not going to pull the trigger off of that. Zotac 269 going to group up in the mid lane. Numbers, strength in numbers here for these guys. Not going to pull in Optimus in that case, but the one good thing that has been going on for Saigon Fantastic 5 is the fact that Minus has been able to split push at the side, get a couple of turrets for himself, and right now, in fact, holding on to a CS lead over Celebrity. But I think Zotac 269 are not too concerned about that for this case, as Optimus is going to try to go in for that one. Haven't brought down to about half of his HP for now, and I think that is going to be the indicator that they will be pulling off of the area of the map right now.
I mean, this has got to be one of the most frustrating games for Minus to play. He went for the static shift early for himself, so that he will be able to help the team wave clear. But when you go for the static shift, means that freezing as an AD carry is no longer going to be an option, and he's just going to be so difficult. He's just going to be so farm stuff. Despite we see him spending all his time in the side lanes, he's only 15 CS up against Celebrity.
We do see SF5 advancing forward. Snowball going to hit down as well. And the whole point about freezing the lanes and for Minus to pick up such an early static shift just goes to show that Zotac 269 have a strong grasp of SF5's composition right here. They want to make sure that Minus has no opportunity to freeze the waves and to farm out as much as possible. So they are going to force this, pushes down onto SF5 and to make sure that, to punish them for the lack of wave clear, in fact, from Saigon Fantastic 5. So making sure that, they accelerate the game as much as possible. And like you mentioned earlier, 5,000 gold lead at the 16-minute mark, at the 14-minute mark, is way too much for SF5 to handle right now. They need to make some sort of desperate measures, desperate calls in order to stay alive in the game.
There is a huge rip in the top side of the map. If 269 elects to push her that SF5, they'll definitely have a little bit of a struggle, but Ozizi is able to reach them by the safety first, so that's going to be thinning out the wave, and the threat of the huge boost coming in is definitely going to be going down. And oh, they know that this buff is up. Is Surf going to go for the steal? They do drop the ward, they do spot it, and straight away SF5 not even going to stay for this one.
Oh, here we go now, the Void Rush into the Blaze of Wolves area, and they will be giving the red buff over to Minus in that case, but I believe Heaven as well as Beyond should be grouping up with the rest of the team once the buff gets transferred over, just to push the wave of the momentum that they are sitting on right now. King J down in the bottom lane, still pushing by himself as well, but he does have the teleport to rejoin his team if he sees the need to.
I mean, he's currently 50 CS up against the Maokai. He has the Trinity Force completed already. The Maokai kind of half and half at the moment. Cactus completed, the Glacier Shot completed, not a Frozen Heart, not a Roar of Ages.
Nice dodge there from Minus to sidestep away from the death sentence. If that would have landed, that would have spelled so much disaster for SF5 in that case, as King J right now, like you mentioned, 50 CS lead. Pretty sizable one against Azizi in this case, and Minus gets hooked in. Yep, they gotta catch him, but Cirque in fact takes so much return damage. Absolute Zero comes around to zone for the rest of the team right here. Cirque gets bring down to about a third of his HP. Optimus is gonna try to come in to join the fight as well, so close call there for Cirque, but not enough follow-up damage to in fact bring him down. So that might be Zotac 269's cue to in fact push the advantages right now. Absolute Zero is not out.
The members of the SF5 just taking turns to record the moment. The poke from 269 is just so much at this point. The hook comes in once again, doesn't find anybody. 269, they're looking to siege. The snowball's been thrown on. And this is the issue of Nunu. When you have another type of jungle, you can engage in some form of ways. Nunu can't do anything. He just sits down there. Blood Boy is the AD carry. At this point of time, the AD carry, BF sword not even completed.
Yeah, you can't enable any sort of plays whatsoever, and you're just pretty much on the defensive position all the time. And Jinky once again gets hooked in right here, having the box, Frozen Tomb, everything just layered down onto him. Heaven's gonna pick up the kill. Double TPs now coming in. Azizi as well as no, King J is not gonna follow off of that one, it seems. So that's gonna be a teleport being blown on the side of Azizi, but top lane turret still not going down, and here comes Optimus looking to chase down onto Heaven on the side. He does have enough damage, but Optimus, is he gonna pay for his life off of that? No, not quite yet. And Minus on the side now trying to finish off Celebrity. Beyond flashes in for the final tick of damage, but it is going to be Cirque that picks up the kill, but nevertheless taking away the carries from the equation.
And in all the time, in the bottom lane, King J got the turret down, and this is going to be a second turret going into favor of 269. That 5,000 gold lead just became a 9,000 gold lead. SF5 up against the ropes. The Cinderella story for 269 is going to continue here.
That's right, and I have to say, Zotac 269, extremely solid shot calling right there. They saw for a fact when both Azizi as well as King J, teleported to the top lane, they told King J, you know what, just stay in the bottom lane, just continue to push, we can handle it, and they handled it well as well. That is going to bring out so much advantage through this guy. 6 turrets to 2, 1-1 dragon, and now looking to challenge the next one as well. So we'll see if Saigon Fantastic 5 chooses to respond to this one.
SF5 cannot take any fights at the moment. They do not have any items completed for themselves. No Aegis of the Legion. Cinderhawk only just completed for the Nunu. No second item for the mid laner just yet. The AD carry doesn't even have the Infinity Edge completed at this point of time. Going for the Righteous Glory, I have to feel it's a big mistake coming from Azizi, in fact.
Yeah, so not enough skilling. It's going to come back around for these guys. And remember, guys, if you are just joining us on stream, Zotac 269 is the new guards of GPL. This is their first split in the GPL against SF5. Yeah, against SF5, the veterans, the favorites of this team. Bring it all the way to a 5-game in this particular series as well. What a resounding statement these guys are making for themselves.
Walking the royal road with pride right now. 269, they're just showing the dominance. They are extremely strong on the blue side, and we've seen them take games 1 and 3 off the backs of that, and now that they are in game 5 over here, SF5, they look to be in a little bit of a pinch now that they're 9,000 go behind.
Somehow, some way, they have to stall this one out until Minus hits the point where he can start to carry the game once more, but I don't think Zotac 269 is going to give them the chance to do so. 0-3-1 is Minus right now, so still very far from that carry Tristana stage that we are very used to. You compare that to his counterpart, Celebrity 2-0-7.
Oh, Minus might get hooked over here.
Oh!
Predicted the direction wrongly.
Yeah, not quite yet. But, just the amount of threat that Zotac 269 brings on the table, quite devastating to deal with.
King J SR with continuing to make more noise in the bottom lane. And here's the thing, I mean, if there was a Jax, ZZ would be in so much trouble. But they went for the Arella instead. So yes, you're 50 CS ahead, you're super far ahead in terms of levels as well. But Arella against Maokai, you can't really do much because all Maokai is going to do is clear the ways, face him, flay him back in.
Yeah, doesn't get the flay back in, but just so much threat being put down on the side of Zotac 269. You realize that every single time that SF5 tries to put down a ward at the Baron area, they will somehow get pulled in, and you never quite know whether there's going to be a 5-man team waiting for you there. So that's definitely going to strike some fear in SF5's heart over here to say, do I really want to approach that Baron area? Do I really want to challenge for vision around that area? All these questions are going to be running through the heads right here. And so Zotac 269 still securing quite a fair bit of advantage, or rather a fair bit of vision around the Baron Pit area. But they do seal off the vision, and they won't be able to spot out Zotac 269 if they travel anywhere out of that area.
So there we go. The pings have been replaced, and 269, they're just taking control of this Baron pit once again. When they have these double pings in position, they will be looking for another pick over here. SF5. They don't have the wave control. They don't have the vision control. This is where we see teams start to make mistakes. They're just going for those blind engagements, and they might find themselves behind.
Pretty big point to look forward to as ZZ once again forced on defensive duties against King J. Good thing going for him is that, like you mentioned, there's no true hard engage that's going to come through from King J to force the fight against a ZZ in this situation. And this might be what SF5 need in order to stall out the game. If you realize in the past 2 or 3 minutes or so, Zotac 269 hasn't been able to make any sort of advancements on the map itself.
Well, one thing that's going for them is that Minus is level 12 already. As a Tristana, you're looking to get all the solo lane experience. You want to get the level 15, get the bonus range coming for yourself, and then the Infinity Ash has been completed already. So a few lucky crits might mean the SF5 can still win these fights.
Well, I'll just say that if Saigon Fantastic 5 really does find a way to come back into this game, it would be one of the biggest comebacks in GPL history. Not only in the series.
It is still a scaling composition they're playing, so
I would still say it's a pretty big comeback. You know, it's almost a 10,000 goal lead now for Zotac 269 at the 25-minute mark.
They're no strangers to this. I mean, going back to the best of 5 they play against Taipei Snipers, they were playing a scaling composition as well. I do believe they're playing Jackson Jinx in that series. And it was a very similar situation. They weren't 10,000 goal behind, but it was something like 7,000, 6,000 goal behind. And they were able to stall the game long enough to a point where they were able to let the carries turn on and win the game from there.
Yeah. Well, we'll see if they will be able to replicate that sort of result. Of course, back then it was a slightly different roster.
It's half a year ago, in fact, too.
Yeah, so slightly different roster and all these different factors coming into play. Patch changes, champion changes.
I actually have to imagine over here, 269, if they had a little bit more guts to start out the Baron, they might already be on the way to victory, but I have to feel in an ultimate game 5 in such a manner.
Yeah, why take the risk, right? You don't really have to take that sort of risk unless it hits a point where Minus is going to be able to come back to the game. Then you might have to take those risks.
Well, this is where I disagree with Luden's echo on the RA. Because against the Seraph, yes, you want to just go and get the burst onto him, just the extra spell that is the Luden's Echo Prong, get it onto him and get the burst down. But now that you're up against a much more of a varied threat line, there's the Lissandra to watch out for, there's the Rexet to watch out for, there's the Grace and Irela. 4 different threats on the side of 269. It's very diluted. You want to be getting the death cap, you want to be getting the AoE presence as an RE, rather than going for the Luden's Echo for this additional burst onto a single target.
Alright, Dragon's gonna come back around in just about now. As Zotac 269 is right around the corners here. As we'll see if they choose to go for that one, or will they collapse down onto SF5 in this case. As they know that Jinky has kind of made their way around. So Zotac 269 will force SF5 off of that Baron for now, and they will regroup and move towards the Dragon Plate. We might just see Heaven solo this one out. He is pretty farmed by himself, 4-1 and 4. And it's quite tanky by himself, so no problem whatsoever. And if there's any need for him to join the next team fight, can still avoid rush down. He does have the ultimate out on that Rek'Sai.
I'm actually concerned for him because he didn't go for the Warrior Enchantment, he went for the Cinderhawk Enchantment instead. So, not sure if he will have enough damage. In fact, he's sort of losing about the same amount of health, but with the Smite coming in, he should be able to take this dragon. So, 269. There we go, smiting early just to make sure that there's no accidents happening to him.
Yeah, so it took a while, but you know, he got it. So, no problems for him. Now, the question is, will Zotac 269 start up on the Baron?
Uh-oh, Surf is in a little bit of trouble over here, but he does use the hook onto the Baron, take some additional damage. Bomb explode, but that isn't enough to take him down. Still about 45% of his max HP.
Sorry, Void Rush coming back around. Heaven's gonna rejoin his group mates in the mid lane right here. King J just back to his merry farming ways, almost building a 100 CS lead over a ZZ. As SF5 looks to group up right here, and look at that steroid on that attack speed here. Minus not quite finishing off the turret here.
Here comes the teleport from the Aurelia.
That's right, the flank from the backends over here. Heal comes around. Absolute Zero getting peeled off. Used to peel off for Zotac 269. Beyond gonna flash in for the final chunk of damage. Frozen Tomb. Jinky is gonna go down over here. And will we see the rest of the team follow through as well? Azizi getting knocked out into the air. Cirque gets the final lash, the final whiplash in to secure the kill for Zotac 269. 2 deaths now on the side of SF5. Will Zotac 269 finally have what it takes to break through? The carries are still alive on the side of SF5. They might have something to say about this one. Zotac 269 just very careful with their positioning right here, but they first zero down onto the inhibitor turret right here. Will they get more? We'll have to see. Cirque throwing down death centers to try to flank Optimus by the side, but the inhibitor has already fallen, making a victory passage for Zotac 269 to make it to the grand finals.
Now SF5, the option of a counter Baron over here, a desperation Baron is definitely there, but they need to move fast if they want to go for it. They catch one member. Beyond will be able to, he is able to get it just at the right time. And now King J shows himself at the top lane. Will he be the sacrificial lamb over here? Teleport is not available for some shenanigans, for some escape shenanigans. And looks like the Arvilla definitely will be going down, but the question is who else might be falling? Tries to sustain it, but in the end he is unable to get out there. That's right. Beyond gets found by Azizi with the juke around. Zonya's hourglass. Does he grab the lantern? He doesn't get it.
Still too much damage from Minus though. Azizi picks up one more kill, and like you mentioned, the option is now open for them to take the counter Baron. Heaven still in the mid lane pushing though. Is he gonna try to end the game by himself? I'm not too sure if he does have enough damage. Here we go now. Heaven is gonna be the man to look out for, the man of the hour. Azizi now being called back to base to defend against Heaven in this case. And that is going to be the Baron going over to Saigon Fantastic 5. What a turn of event for these guys. They will close the goal gap now to about 7,000 gold. And we are at the 30-minute stage as well. So Minus is going to be huge on this Tristana pick right here.
This might just be the comeback from SF5. They close the goal gap slightly. They're going to have the next 3 minutes to move around the map as they please. Get some good wards down. And suddenly with all that go, Minus, Last Whisper, Static Shift, Infinity Edge. The Tristana is going to be doing damage in fights.
That's right. And a lot of damage to say the least. And Baron buffed up SF5 as well. Suddenly, Zotac 269 find themselves in a super awkward situation, and this might be the time for that Tristana pick to shine now. Nunu is gonna be so tanky, standing right at the front as well. The Blood Boy just giving Minus so much extra attack speed. Look at how quickly they're demolishing this turrets right here.
I mean, I have to feel that 269, they're just falling victim to their own caution over here. They just aren't getting the decisiveness to pull the trigger while they are hit, and as a result, they're getting overzealous, and after they commit to back hole, they just stay around it for too long, and they just kind of crumble as SF5 just punish them all around the map. They just lost 3 turrets in the span of the last minute or so, and they aren't able to get much in exchange. They lose the Baron, they lose objectives all around the map, and SF5, they're slowly clawing themselves back into the game, with us getting composition.
That's right, and when it comes to championship caliber teams, you need to know when to take the risk, and Zotac 269 is being taught a pretty valuable lesson right here, but do not be mistaken, they are still in the lead here, but that is slowly and steadily, you know, crawling away from them as SF5 is playing the map out for themselves.
It is still Lissandra Arvilla that we're looking at over here, and the Arvilla will be completing the Frozen Heart as well, so kind of going for Captain Planet build as well. A little bit of MR, a little bit of armor, all over the place.
With the powers combined.
Captain Planet.
Oh well, Zotac 269 still sitting on a close to 6,000 goal lead, but that is not as significant from what we saw before. So Saigon Fantastic 5, off of that Baron play, should have a pretty good booster to their confidence right here. And it just makes me feel that at the 30-minute mark, that 6,000 goal lead is not as significant.
I like the defensive warning coming in so far from 269. They know that they have to backpedal a little bit on their aggression, wait for the Baron buff to wear out before they go in for this major fight once again. And now Tristana is definitely going to be a force to be reckoned with. There we go, just chunks it down, and the amount that she does to these turrets is just obscene.
Oh my
Another turret goes in the favor of SF5.
Yeah, you cannot just let your sights loose for one moment whatsoever. You got to be there before your opponents do, because if you just give them a couple of seconds, that's how fast they can demolish your turrets. And Saigon Fantastic 5 are just playing to their strengths right now. And look at this formation.
But Dragon is gonna spawn.
Oh my goodness. Are they gonna go for... Are they gonna be going for the play?
Uh-oh. This is really sneaky.
This might be...
The show one member, the rest of the team is around the corner!
Oh, that's right. We do see Heaven getting chunked out so low. We don't see the full fight breaking out, but that was potentially a very dangerous moment. But look at what's going on in the mid lane, though. The super minutes are doing the job. Stop the recalls. Come on. Jinky is moving towards the place right now. Will they get the recall? No. They will not be able to stop Jinky. Red Inhibitor has respawned as well, so that's going to buy so much time for SF5 to work with. A pretty close shave for this, guys. Nexus turret do not fall as well. So, Zotac 269 not securing the fates here with the mid lane inhibitor coming back around. They do get they do get the 4th dragon for themselves still. So there is something that they have got going for themselves, and if they do secure the 5th one, I would say it's almost as powerful as the Baron buff.
Isn't it? It's more powerful than the Baron buff.
Yeah, just that it doesn't quite buff up your minions.
Especially when we have champions like Rek'Sai that can just poke from afar. You just slowly siege them down, just shoot out those Qs, the Prey Seekers, and then let the burn from the dragon just do the 3 damage there.
Yeah, so... I don't know, I'm just, you know, on my seat right now. I hope everyone back at home, if you're watching live, is having the same feeling.
No, I think what's important for both teams is to very clearly set the next major objective of the game. So clearly neither team is going to be rushing down their opponent's base or to be in a sieging scenario, now that they both know that it's rather even in team fights. So it's going to be jockeying for position around the next major objective. So 269 for them is definitely going to be the Baron. They want to be taking vision control of the Baron area and then forcing SF5 to approach the area. Whereas for SF5, I think they have to be a little bit more sneaky and just use the Ari Morgana, ward up the smaller objectives, ward up the red buff, ward up the blue buff of their opponents, and try to catch members in those scenarios. Or perhaps ones like these as well. There we go, Trump comes in.
Oh, landing a couple of folk damage down onto Heaven, chunking him down for a substantial amount of HP, but he's just going to be able to...
King goes in.
And he's going to go in this time around, and everyone just getting clustered around from SF5. Heaven's going to go in for a 3-man knockout, but he's not tanky enough to sustain the damage. King J now on the back end. Optimus going to use that Zhonya's Hourglass to stay alive. Optimus going to dash around on the back end. Jinky secures 1 kill onto King J. Minor secures the other one. He's going to get the resets coming around. Is that going to be the ace? That is going to be the ace coming through. And SF5 somehow weathers the storm, and they are going to march all the way in. Are they going to be able to end the game though? I don't quite know. The first the respawn timer coming in is going to be about 10 seconds from Heaven. They will be able to get at least the inhibitor turret, I believe.
They have the Bloodbath on the Tristana. Minus you just be able to do absurd amounts of damage, and there we go. Just chunking it down already, and the rest of the squad comes in as well. Optimus comes in. The Ludens Echo, I do believe, doesn't splash the turret as well. So that's going to be the first turret inhibitor now exposed. I don't think that this will be game, but suddenly the momentum of the game in the favor of SF5 as they close down what was a 10,000 gold deficit into only 1,500.
Is this really going to happen for the grand final slot of the GPL? Are we truly going to see one of the biggest comebacks in GPL history?
I think this is SF5. They're just putting their first down, showing that we are the veterans here. It's a best of 5. We have the mettle to take it. 269, they just showed us why they're the amateurs. It's the Royal Road. It's the first time they're playing such a scenario. Every time choke under the pressure. They had the game in their pockets, but they just couldn't pull the trigger. They just gave SF5 all the time they needed to get the Tristana going, and now 38 minutes into the game, Tristana 4 items completed already. There's Quicksilver Slash to prevent 269 from locking him down as well. And now 269, they're just going to start up the Baron. Minus is still in the base.
Minus is still in the base. They are going to move towards this area right now. Jinky on the back end though. What's he gonna do? What's he gonna try to do? Frozen Tom comes around. It is Zotac 269 that finishes off the Baron. Jinky on the back end. Absolute Zero getting charged in, but that is going to be him going down. And the rest of Saigon Fantastic 5 finally gets around to come in. And Minus is going to cleanse away. But you can't cleanse away from the knockout, my friend. Minus is going to go down. Zotac 269 looks to finish off the game. Optimus still staying alive for now. One final tick of damage ought to do it. Celebrity gets taken down by Optimus with the Orb of Deception here. All the members from Zotac 269 being brought down solo. They have to back away from now. And now Azizi coming back into the fight with a full HP charged up for them. And Zotac 269 has to run for their lives now. The minions being pushed in, or rather the minions pushing in the mid lane, but King JJ has been able to recall, and the Baron buffed up minions should be able to repel this attack from Saigon Fantastic 5.
Dragon number 5 for 269 will be spawning in another 40 seconds. They need to get some vision down onto the area and wait for SF5 to approach. But here's the thing that works in their favor. The only thing that SF5 have right now is the damage source coming from the Tristana, and the Tristana is still dead at this point of time, only respawning in a matter of a few seconds. So in that period, 269, they might be able to just force a very good position on top of this Dragon Pit, like they were able to on top of the Baron.
If they get Dragon number 5, I can only fear this much for SF5.
SF5, it looks like they kind of know what the Dragon timing is, but they aren't exactly sure what the exact timer is going to be. They weren't able to time it, and here we have them all just looping around. No vision onto each other yet so far. 269, they're stepping on some walls at the moment, but they have the Rek'Sai. The Rek'Sai is going to be revealing a lot. They start up the Dragon. This is going to be crunch time. Minus is there. The Black Shield a little bit too preemptive. Now that's going to wear out for himself. Surf is going to look for the hook. Minus, that's the rocket jump already out. SF5, this is really, really precarious for themselves. They have the Speed Shrine, the Scuttle Crab, that's going to be working in their favor for a little bit, but it is imperative that they pick up this Dragon for themselves. The bot lane wave is pushing for them, the mid lane wave is pushing for them, but the top side, that's in the favor of 269.
Yeah, that's right, 2 for 1 in terms of the lane exchanger itself. We might just see Zotac 269 give this away to SF5, and we start to see the recalls coming in. The mid lane super minion push is way too much for for Zotac 269 to handle. They decide, you know what, we are just going to give this one over to SF5. Does not matter all too much. We want to make sure that we have the structural advantage for ourselves. And up in the top lane though, there is a huge minion wave just stacked up in the favor of Zotac 269. 3 cannon minions as well, but here comes Optimus to the rescue with the Lunan's Echo right there. Gonna try to clear out this wave as quickly as possible, and SF5 will regroup after taking the second Dragon for themselves, and most importantly, stopping the 5th Dragon buff timer.
I mean, this is once again 269. They could have done so much in that kind of situation, but they kind of like hesitated in the spot. They couldn't really commit to a single call, and they just end up with a very passive play. They surrendered the map pressure back to SF5. Despite having the Baron buff, they gave the Dragon over to SF5 instead of securing that game-winning 5th Dragon for themselves.
That's right, 5,000 gold lead now for Zotac 269, but at the 42-minute mark, it's not gonna matter. It's all down to the wire on who gets the better positioning in the team fights. And if we can see SF5 do what they did previously in the mid lane when they were trying to defend the inhibitor turret, we might just see SF5 pull this comeback.
I'm just taking a look at the items right now. The Rek'Sai is going to be really tanky, and so is the Nunu. Both of them at this point of time are going to be kind of doing squat in these team fights. They're just going to be meat shoes. It's just that I have to feel that because you didn't go for Saigon, you didn't go for Nautilus, and you're going to be building tank on your jungler, Jinky actually does more as a Nunu, despite me saying that Nunu does absolutely nothing, because he's going to be able to blood boy someone on top of being tanky with the absolute zero as well as the slope and the snowball. Whereas all Heaven can do is just stay around and try to knock some people up in a team fight.
Sometimes the knockout might be enough, so
I mean, it was enough in the fight around the Baron pit.
Yeah, so we will see how this one really plays out. We can just speculate what's going to go on, but it all boils down to the one team fight now, I feel.
Optimus shows himself on the bottom side. This might be 269's signal to go. The RE is not around, he just throws out the orb, and the bottom lane wave is still pushing in at the moment. He's slowing down a little bit.
Oh, Death Sentence not landing though. And we are just looking at SF5 Will they be able to collapse? They're going to chase down Zotac 269. So
That's the Righteous Glory popped already. SF5. They're going to be recalling. They're going to be trying to do whatever they can. Once again, Ari showed in the bottom side of the map and straight away 269. They just put the pressure back on, tunnel down into the mid lane.
yeah, we gotta keep track of what's going on in the top lane as well, because that's pushing in SF5's favor. So we might see once again SF5, you know, just retreating back again, making sure that they have all the side lanes pushing, not pushing against their advantages here before committing to a call. SF5, they are going to be happy with all this time that they are buying for themselves. You know, all extra time means extra chances for Tristana to just level up, get extra gold.
They send the Graves to the top lane to kind of deal with the wave over there. He wasn't able to clear all of it. So that's going to still be pushing in the favor of SF5. But popping the Righteous Glory and rushing down the mid lane took pressure off them. And now SF5, they're going to be rotating up into the top side. Just trying to pick up whatever turrets. And if they do get a start, it's going to be even 7 for 7.
Oh my goodness, Minus just going to chunk it down the explosive statue. It's going to proc as well. And once again, back to the point. You got to be at your objectives before SF5 does. Minus is just going to demolish a turret in the blink of an eye. And we saw that effectively right there. And here comes the big challenge though. Baron's going to come back up in about 30 seconds or so, and Zotac 269 needs to do something.
And look at the wave control that SF5 has been able to do so far. Once again, they're showing why they are the veterans. They know how to control the waves, they know how to play the map and map their plays around it. It was so well timed. Optimus moved into the bottom side, calculated it really well, and now they have a huge wave pushing in the bottom side, while Baron will be spawning another 20 seconds.
That's right, so gotta watch out for the decision for both teams here. I don't think any of the team is gonna be willing to step into that area to try to take that monstrous buff for themselves unless they know that their opponents are nowhere nearby, or if they're in black and white screen.
Here's what I think they should do. Just send the Rek'Sai to the bottom lane, clear out that wave, start the slow push across that for yourselves, and then anything happens, preemptively place a tunnel at your own blue buff. Anything happens, you can still come in as a tank. Because in terms of the poke wall, the Rek'Sai isn't going to be doing anything at this point. They hooked the Nunu, but that's not the
that's not the target. That's no way that's the target. Azizi popping the Righteous Glory once again. They are going to try to go in to Optimus. Will they pick up Beyond though? Doesn't quite get the charm down onto Beyond. And look at the chunk of damage Optima puts out, making it a 4v final. Now they are trying to tunnel it onto Minus. He's still on the back end though. They are trying to bring him down, but he's still going to be able to heal up. Heaven's going to be the next target right here. King J still at the front, buying some time for his teammates, but I think that's not going to be enough as Optimus picks up the kill. Minus going to get the reset here. Cirque is going to go down. Minus picks up one more kill, and I think that's going to be it. I think that's going to be it.
SF5, they pull off the comeback. 10,000 gold, 11,000 gold behind at one point of time. They are able to solve things out. They show their experience, and now they are on the Nexus itself. Celebrity in Heaven is not over yet. They're trying to put whatever defense that they can. The Rek'Sai extremely tanky at this point in time, but he's still going to be falling under the focus fire of 5 people. Nexus start number 2. He gets the Ari Celebrity on the run.
Oh,
and that's the last member. It's the ace, and that's the game. Going to be game for Saigon Fantastic 5.
That's right. The mantle of a championship team has been shown. SF5 come back with a 10,000 goal lead deficit, and I think they have rightfully shown the GPL region why they deserve that grand final spot.
The Royal Road ends here for 269. They showed us the unlikely upstarts, bringing SF5 all the way to a 5th game for what most people thought would have been an easy 3-0 for them. Most people counted them out, but they've put up a fantastic performance so far. Zotac 269, they've tried hard, but we will only be seeing them tomorrow in the 3rd, 4th placing match.
That's right, and with that as well, Saigon Fantastic 5 secured a spot in the grand finals, and I think that's just one of the most perfect ways to end off their best of 5 series with such an epic game like that. Congratulations to you guys. We'll see you, and of course the live feed on the camera as well. Look at everyone just hugging each other. I mean, that's gonna be one of the most tremendous series that they have played in their professional League of Legends career. The one to prove to them, and we see our coach there as well. Everyone just embracing the fact that they have earned the spot to the grand finals, and of course Zotac 269 I have to say, as the new guards, as one of the new teams coming into this split of the GPL, they have certainly shown the world and the GPL region, most importantly the GPL region, why they deserve to be here and why they deserve to stay.
Just look at their faces at the moment. Zotac 269, they look crushed, they look defeated, but I can still feel a little bit of optimism in their faces because they did it. SF5, 28-1 in the VCSA, and they brought them to game number 5 and almost took it. They could have taken it. I have to feel that 269,